Hi, my name is Takoma. I'm from Tokyo, Japan, and I'm an English education major at ACU. So, as English was my second language, I grew up in Tokyo, Japan, but when I was about 5 years old, our family moved to the States for my dad to study at ACU for grad school. So, that was when I encountered English for the first time, and I went to Taylor Elementary School from kindergarten to second grade. So, that was kind of my official encounter with English. So what is the hardest thing I've had to learn? I guess in terms of English, it would be grammar. Um, I was never really good at grammar. I've slowly overcome it over time as now I'm finally an English education major. But I remember that when I first encountered or started taking ESL classes, I really struggled with the grammar because of how the sequences and the order, the ways that I use it is slightly different from Japanese because I guess it's a different language. So verbs, nouns, they came a lot easier, but the higher the level went up, adjectives, adverbs, superlatives, and so on. I remember struggling with trying to memorize the different terminologies and how to manipulate each of those tools. So, yeah, that is a challenge that I was slowly able to overcome, but I would say that that was the hardest thing I had to learn. So, what has been one of my greatest accomplishments from learning English? The easiest one that comes to my mind is that I am now able to come to ACU. Um, so, English has always been my passion in language. My mom is currently an English teacher in a local Japanese school. And even after my short stay in the States for 3 years, from kindergarten to second grade, I really had a deep connection with English. So even while I went to public school in Japan, I recall reading lots of English books. And I'm super thankful for the challenges and the lessons that I was able to overcome because now I'm able to study with my fellow peers to learn how to teach English to other students. So I'm currently studying to teach English, hopefully back in Japan after I return. So, yeah, I guess that's one of the biggest accomplishments that I'm really thankful for. All right, so why did I decide to learn English? Um, I guess my first encounter with English was not my decision because I was still really young. I was a kindergartner, and when my dad moved to the States for grad school, we moved along with him. So um, I guess I could say that this came from a necessity as I moved into a different environment with a different language. So even though I didn't really have a choice with my first encounter with English, I'm really thankful for the opportunities that it has given me because thanks to my encounter with English, I now have relationships, and a network with people across two countries, with Japan and America. So um, even though my encounter with English was not necessarily my choice, because of it, I'm now able to choose where I want to study and what I want to pursue. So I'm really thankful for that opportunity. All right, so what was my experience like as I learned English? I would say my experience was a pretty good one. I took ESL from kindergarten to first grade out of my 3 years in America, and I remember taking regular classes with my peers along with an ESL class about once a week, where I would meet my ESL teacher along with some peers who were also ELLs. So it was a face to face conversation, and yeah, I would say that my transition to English was pretty easy because of the fact that I was still very young. It's a lot harder for middle schoolers, high schoolers, and people older than that to learn a new language or even as a second language because their minds are pretty set by then. So I guess it was a blessing that I was still in kindergartners, so my mind was pretty malleable and flexible. So yeah, my experience was a pretty smooth one because of the teachers and my age and my peers that supported me. Final question. what advice would I give to my younger self if I were to be learning English for the first time? I would say learning to converse outside of school. I had a great ESL teacher and classmates that supported me and conversed with me in English. But even if it's like talking to people, older people at my church, or being involved in extracurricular activities, or conversing with people in the local supermarket, I don't know. Um, I think thinking and learning outside the textbook is something that's really important to truly understand and learn the communicative, I don't know if that's the word, the communication skills in a new language. So if I were to learn English a new time or give advice to my younger self, it would be, yeah, think outside the textbook and learn how to communicate with people in the real world.